I want to talk to the BJP spokesperson and the BJP man on the panel. Sudhanshu Mittal now joins us. Many thanks, Mr. Mittal, for joining this interesting debate. Now, I want to come straight to you or to the point. This is the High Court, the State High Court saying that. This is not the Congress saying this. This is not the opposition saying it. This is not anti-Modi, any anti-Modi man that you might say. This is the state, Gujarat State High Court saying this. And they're admonishing the state government, telling the CBI to get more aggressive, saying that the state government is trying to obstruct the case. Now, why, my question to you, sir, is this: why is the state government been on tenterhooks ever since the CBI took over the probe? Why these efforts to systematically subvert the probe, like the court is saying? If it wasn't before, then the Chief Minister's office now is under the scanner. Respond to that. Why is the state government on tenterhooks?
If you have seen the record of such investigations in the last, 10 years now, 11 years now, the way all efforts have been made to hound Mr. Modi, to defame him, to drag him into all kind of litigations with false affidavits and all kind of maneuvers, what else are you going to conclude? In this case, there is not even an iota of evidence to link Mr. Modi with this case. He is not even an accused, he is not even a suspect, he is not anything. But the moment the Ishrat case comes, Modi comes, Modi comes, Modi comes. Where is Mr. Modi in this?
Okay, I'll tell you, sir. I'll tell you if
what is the debate right now? The debate is you are trying to implicate an IB level. Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete. What is the debate? The debate is in the quest of implicating falsely a political entity who today has emerged as one of the tallest leaders in the country. What you have landed up doing is to subvert the entire system of governance of this country. A special director of IB is sought to be hounded, and there are all kind of selective leaks saying we have enough material on recall to arrest him. Today I read in the newspaper that the concerned officer investigating this in the CBI has been removed by CBI because he was pursuing a personal agenda. You know, what is happening is the credibility in investigating such
You are ill-informed. You are ill-informed, sir.
Mr. Mittal,
Mr. Mittal, you are ill-informed.
Sudhanshu,
allow me to complete.
Allow me to butt in here.
Allow me to butt in here.
Come here 1 second.
Anybody's statement.
Okay, Mr.
Allow me to complete. This is
Mr. Mittal, I will let you continue.
No, allow me to complete.
I will let you continue. But I need to butt in here.
And then you speak whatever you want.
Sir, I need to butt in here because you said Modi is not an accused. I completely agree with you. The CBI has clearly said, the CBI has clearly said, Mr. Mittal, that we have no evidence against Modi yet. I completely agree with you. But the question, sir, is two IAS officers, unnamed IAS officers, and the CBI very clearly said they called people, cops connected to the Ishrat Jahan murder case, IB recruits, IB people with the case. They called them at ungodly hours at night, and it seems that someone in the CMO was talking to these police people and the IB people. Does that not lead to the CM's office at least? I'm not saying Narendra Modi is an accused, he's not, but does that not lead to the CMO's office?
Why, look, in an investigation, if you are going to preempt everything, you want to lead the investigation in a particular way, you have activists who have been submitting false affidavits to enforce a particular line of investigation. You have investigating officers who have been suggested by people who are accusing the BJP government of wrongdoing. With this kind of a muck around, what is it that you want to conclude?
No, you know,
why was the officer who was investigating belonging to the IPS cadre of Gujrat removed today? He's
staying now. He's staying
what has been happening.
He's staying till the 18th of June. Mr. Mittal, he's staying till the 18th of June. Now, Prasenjit wants to say something.
No,
yes.
See, Mr. Mittal's argument, I find it very strange.
But why 18th of June?
Sir,
what is
Mr. Mittal, please.
about 18th of June?
Mr. Mittal, I'll come back to you. Yes, yes.
You know, I find it very strange. I mean, what is the point he's trying to make? Now, he is saying that, you know, I don't know whatever else has happened. Mr. Modi is not guilty. So whatever he is saying, you know, that other activists are trying to preempt this, that, I think he is the one who is trying to preempt. Nobody is saying that Mr. Modi is, you know, guilty and we are pronouncing the verdict. It is for the courts to decide. But Mr. Mittal is representing the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Bharatiya Janata Party and Mr. Modi heads the government in Gujarat. Now, what is the record of this Gujarat state government as far as the minorities are concerned, as far as the fake encounters are concerned, as far as our former minister, Maya Kodnani, please hear me out, please hear me out. A former minister of the Gujrat government from the BJP being in jail today for the Naroda Patia case. You have a former DGP, this Banjara, who has already been sent to jail for a fake encounter case of Sohrabuddin. Today he is being re-arrested and now he is under judicial custody for the Ishrat Jahan case. Mr. Modi is also in charge of the Home Department. You forget about whether it's not a question of whether the Chief Minister is a murderer. The question is, what is the kind of, is the Chief Minister of Gujarat today presiding over a regime which ensures the rule of law, which ensures an unfair, a fair and just administration,
or which encouraged an extrajudicial killing,
or does it is it complicit,
Mr. Mittal,
complicit in perpetrating an extrajudicial killing
Mr.
and now
Mittal,
trying to cover it
Mr.
up?
Mittal, I promise you, Mr. Mittal, I promise you,
say Modi has not done it. That's not enough.
Mr. Mittal,
what is happening in Gujarat?
Mr. Mittal, I promise you, you'll get enough time to respond, but I have to go to Madhav Nalapat first. Madhav Nalapat, give me a reaction here. Now, Prasenjit has a point here. He says nobody is pronouncing Mr. Modi as guilty or nobody is calling him names that I don't want to call him. But the point is, fingers are being pointed right now because Mr. Modi holds the home portfolio. Mr. Modi is considered to be close to the two unnamed IAS officers who will be investigated and questioned by the CBI in a couple of days. Don't you think fingers being pointed is the least of Mr. Modi's and the BJP's worries?
Well, I'm sitting here in Mumbai, which is the capital of Maharashtra.
Unknown IAS officers.
And in the city of Mumbai, there have been, I think, more than 10 times as many encounter deaths as there have been in the whole of Gujarat, quite frankly. The whole question of encounter deaths is not something that is common only to Gujarat. It's there all over the country. There in Andhra Pradesh, for example, is there in Maharashtra, is there in practically every state in the union. So just the fact that there are encounter deaths does not mean that a regime in a particular state is trigger happy. The second point I want to make is that Chief Minister's office in any state is very much concerned with law and order, and it's perfectly natural for them to call police officers and other officers. Now, this kind of so far as the dead of night is concerned, I'm not sure that criminal acts or crimes or the stopping of crime has any, criminals don't take a rest.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Nalapat, we are assuming there that the state intelligence IB report was correct and these people are terrorists. That is not the question we are asking here. I want to go to Shantaram Nayak right now, who's the leader from the Congress. Mr. Nayak, which brings us to the main central theme or a side theme of tonight's debate, whether or not there is a charge against the Congress. It's an assumption that Mr. Mittal, I'm sure, will completely agree with. But Mr. Nayak, there is a charge that the Congress is trying to or will at some point try to misuse the CBI to clip Mr. Modi's wings. Would you agree to that? How would you respond to that?
First of all, these BJP elements have been making charges against Congress all the time. They have demanded resignation of Prime Minister 100 times. They have demanded resignation of other ministers from time to time, and on grounds what? Public perception, they demanded resignation
and
of
you had to submit.
Railway Minister,
you had to give those resignations because they were corrupt.
And other people. Now question is, please listen to me. Now, on public perception says that Mr. Narendra Modi is a mass murderer. Now, this is public perception, not under law. As you say rightly, it has not been proved in the court. But you are respecting public perception, and you are giving very high status to that what is called as public perception. Now accept it, accept this public perception and make amends accordingly.
No, but do you agree to the charge that the Congress is trying to misuse the CBI to get to Mr. Modi? Yeah, I'll come to you, Mr. Mittal.
Has been a person who is charged of murder and who is on bail has been sent to UP as in charge. What can you say? A person, a minister in the cabinet of Mr. Modi who has been sentenced to life imprisonment. Now the government is asking for death penalty for the very person, for the lady. What
Okay.
can you say?
Okay, Mr. Nayak, Mr. Mittal, I want to
And
come
what
to you
type
right now.
of,
Okay, okay.
approach
Okay, Mr.
this
Nayak,
man is going to
Mr.
have?
Nayak, okay, the Congress maintains that it is not misusing the CBI and things are falling as they are falling. The die has been rolled and whatever comes out will come out. I take your word for that for the moment. Rajiv Ranjan from the JDU has also joined us. Before I go to Rajiv Ranjan, I want to give Mr. Mittal an opportunity to give a rebuttal. Go ahead, Mr. Mittal, but keep it brief, please. I'll come back to you later. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Mittal.
Mr. Shantaram's statement is so comical that I really do not know how to respond to it. Perception, because he asked for resignation, you had to submit the resignation.
It's better that you don't
Because
respond
all your
if you
ministers
can't.
are found to be corrupt. As late as 3 days back, allow me.
Please go ahead.
CBI has charged one of your ministers in charge of coal to take bribe of 2.5 crores from a member of parliament of your own party. So much for your comical statements, Mr. Gentleman. Now, as far as what the other gentleman was talking about in terms of perception and extrajudicial killing, what is the record of extrajudicial killing? You are saying 6, 8, 10. What is the record of UP? What is the record of Andhra? What is the
22, Mr.
record of
Mittal.
Tamil Nadu? What is the
22,
record of
not 8 or
states
10.
ruled by the Congress? And allow me,
you are admitting that Modi has got some record
But we
apparently.
can't allow you to give wrong figures.
the record of Assam ruled by Congress. You know what? Allow me. Do not look at things selectively. See, voice of sanity in this country has lost its relevance because it is selectively expressed. Issue is, if extrajudicial killings are wrong, yes, they are wrong. Nobody can defend them. Do not signal out one person. Unless this person has been proved to be guilty, you are not even charging him. Look at your statement just now. You are saying two unknown or unnamed IAS officers supposedly close to the CM.
Yeah, they've been troubleshooters, everyone knows that.
Say how they are close to the CM.
Okay.
Why are you dragging Mr. Modi and everything?
Okay, before I come to question,
allow me.
Sir, before
You are
we have other guests also, sir. We have a time constraint. And other guests, sir. Mr. Mittal, I've given you enough time.
Manipulated trials cannot work.
Okay, we have a time constraint, sir. Shabnam Hashmi, is it a question of time before the CBI knocks at Mr. Modi's door? And if it does, what happens to Mr. Modi and his national ambitions?
Well, if the CBI is allowed to function independently, if the BJP does not create a situation, what they tried to create, what he was talking about just now of getting Satish Verma removed from there, if they are allowed to work, yes, they would knock at Mr. Modi's house sooner or later. There are no two opinions about it. And if that happens, then, well, anyway, I don't think I want to talk about his national ambitions vis-a-vis the CBI or vis-a-vis the cases, because he can have his national ambitions, but that doesn't mean that those ambitions are going to be fulfilled. No way. India is not Gujrat. India is not Gujrat. That is what they have to understand. Wherever he has gone and campaigned, BJP has only lost. BJP has not gained. And this whole bubble of development, it's a big bubble. There are areas in Gujarat, in Saurashtra, 15 days there is no drinking water.
Staying on point, this Ishrat Jahan case, now, right now the CBI says there is no evidence against Modi. Let's take it on face value.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But there is evidence against Rajinder Kumar, who's the right-hand man of Mr. Vanjara, and Vanjara and Rajinder Kumar have been right-hand mans of Mr. Modi. And every time, whether it is Ishrat Jahan, whether it is Sadiq Jamal, whether it is Sabir Khan Pathan, whether it is Sohrabuddin, everyone who came and who was killed, everyone was coming to kill Mr. Modi.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Ranjan, I'm coming to you.
You know, I think that because I think Mr. Nalpat made that point and Mr. Mittal is making that point, I think that is the whole difference. Yes, false encounters, fake encounters have taken place in other states. But in Gujarat, post 2002, there has been a pattern. In all these cases, the fake encounters have been taking place with the explicit charge that all these people had come to murder Mr. Modi. That is where it gets connected.
There's a pattern. There's a clear pattern.
There is a clear pattern. And that is why these questions will be raised, because now the court is finding.
Amazing.
Wait, hang on. You listen. The court is finding, not the Congress party, not the CBI, not us or activists or X or ABCD. The court is finding these to be fake encounters where the state government had claimed that they were attempts to assassinate Mr. Modi. So the state government has lied. And you have, therefore, the questions will be raised vis-a-vis Mr. Modi and his administration. It will be raised. And as far as, this whole question of national ambition, I think that first of all, we have to, the debate should be on this central question whether rule of law prevails in Gujarat or not.
Okay, that's a whole new debate.
Yes, no, but that is the debate.
That's a whole new
national
debate.
ambition.
Okay.
First, Mr. Modi, we have to arrive at this conclusion whether Gujarat Chief Minister abides by the Indian Constitution. He does not. He does not abide. Gujarat is a state which does not run as per the Indian Constitution.
Set up a SIT.
He runs the assembly. He runs the assembly without a deputy speaker.
Mr. Mittal, the court hasn't said anything against Modi. That's true.
He is lying. The courts have not found anything.
Absolutely.
The courts have instituted an SIT to investigate and then
file a case.
Yes, sir. One second. But Mr. Mittal, this is not a question.
The court have told them that a case is registered.
Mr. Mittal, this is not a question, this is an observation. Mr. Mittal, the court hasn't said anything against Mr. Modi, but they have clearly said, not mincing words, that the state government is obstructing the probe.
Yes. He is misleading and he is lying to the people.
No, sir. Sir, the court is not lying. They are saying and making an observation that the state government is obstructing the CBI probe. You have to admit that because I am not the one saying it. The court is saying it. Mr. Mittal, I'll come back to you. Rajiv Ranjan from the JDU, sir. Rajiv Ranjan from the JDU.
That is what I'm talking about.
I'll come to you.
He is saying that the court have found that they have been killing.
Okay, Mr. Mittal.
The court has only asked the SIT to probe it.
Mr. Mittal, okay. Gentlemen, I have to go to Rajiv Ranjan right now. Rajiv Ranjan has been waiting really patiently. Mr. Ranjan, what is the position of JDU? Yes.
गुजरात को लेकर के जो सवाल हैं, इशरत जहां का सवाल हो, सोहराबुद्दीन का सवाल हो, समीर पठान का सवाल हो, जो संजीव भट्ट जैसे आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स ने स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के फंक्शनिंग को लेकर के जो सवाल उठाए हैं, आज अगर ऑनरेबल हाईकोर्ट ने कहीं ना कहीं सीबीआई के रोल को लेकर के फटकार लगाई है, तो ये गंभीर सवाल है। ये इसलिए गंभीर सवाल है कि इस तरह के जो मामले हैं गुजरात में, उसके कारण आज पूरी दुनिया में गुजरात की छवि धूमिल हुई है। और इशरत जहां जैसे जो फेक एनकाउंटर्स हैं, उनका सच गुजरात और देश की जनता जानना चाहती है। सबसे बड़ा सवाल ये है कि जिस तरह से वहां के कई सीनियर ऑफिसर्स जो कभी गुजरात सरकार की सेवा में थे, उन्होंने बाहर आने के बाद जिस तरह के आरोप लगाए हैं गुजरात सरकार पर, और कहीं न कहीं जांच में गुजरात सरकार की ओर से जो बाधाएं, जो ऑब्स्ट्रक्शंस और जो ऑब्स्टेकल्स क्रिएट किए गए हैं, उन सबसे परे हट करके ऑनरेबल हाईकोर्ट ने अगर बात कही है, तो सीबीआई को एक तय समय सीमा के अंदर नए सिरे से केस को रीओपन करके इसकी जांच करनी चाहिए, और जो लोग भी जवाबदेह हो इस तरह के फेक एनकाउंटर्स के लिए, उनका सच देश और राज्य के सामने लाना चाहिए।
Mr. Ranjan, what if the trail leads back to the Chief Minister's office? What will the JDU do then? Will you still stick with what Mr. Sharad Yadav wants and stay within the NDA, or will you take a fresh look if the trail leads back to the CM's office?
देखिए, सबसे बड़ी बात है इशरत जहां के साथ साथ गुजरात के जो सवाल हैं और जो पूरी दुनिया में एक परसेप्शन बना है गुजरात को लेकर, उसको लेकर के जो हमारे कंसर्न्स हैं, उसको हमने नेशनल काउंसिल के पॉलिटिकल रिजोल्यूशन के जरिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी को बताया। अनफॉर्चुनेटली भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने उसको रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया है, और अब स्थितियां ऐसी हैं कि अगले 48 घंटे में हम कह सकते हैं कि गठबंधन का जो फेट है वो तय होने जा रहा है। हमारा सवाल गठबंधन के अंदर जब हम थे तब भी था, और गठबंधन के बाहर अगर जाएंगे, जो अभी तक हम उनके साथ हैं, वी आर स्टिल पार्ट ऑफ एनडीए, लेकिन अगर हमें एग्जिट हमारा होता है एनडीए से, ये सवाल बराबर अहम है कि गुजरात में जनता के अधिकारों को पूरी तरह से महफूज रखने की जरूरत है। उनके साथ जो एक स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड जो कुछ भी वायलेंस से लेकर के जो शब्द आप कहें, जो कुछ हुआ है उसकी जांच होनी चाहिए। इशरत जहां एक सवाल है, लेकिन गुजरात में ऐसे कई मामले हैं। इन तमाम मामलों में सीबीआई की भूमिका हो, स्टेट की दूसरी एजेंसीज की भूमिका हो, भारत सरकार की दूसरी एजेंसीज की भूमिका हो, इस पर आना चाहिए एक निष्कर्ष, और सच से जो पर्दा है वो उठना चाहिए.
Okay, Mr. Ranjan, Mr. Mittal, I know you want to say something. Before I come to you, I want to go to Mr. Nalapat right now. Mr. Nalapat, I agree with you that Gujarat is not the only state where extrajudicial killings happen or state encounters, state-backed encounters happen. Okay, I think we've lost Mr. Nalapat right now. Let me go to Mr. Shantaram Naik. Mr. Shantaram Naik, as the Congress spokesperson, do you think, I mean, even as a non-political person, if I could ask a non-political person, Mr. Naik, do you think the evidence against the state government in Gujarat, I'm deliberately not saying Mr. Narendra Modi, I'm saying the Narendra Modi government in Gujarat, do you think the evidence the CBI claims has with them is getting too compelling to ignore at this level?
See, I think best way is to find out the truth is to have a polygraph test of Mr. Narendra Modi. Things will come out automatically, and no further evidence will be required. The best way is to have a polygraph test.
Okay, sir, let me, okay. That's the Congress's view. Mr. Mittal, hold on, I'll come to you. Please be patient, I'll come to you. Prasanjit, do you think the evidence is getting too compelling right now to ignore right now? I'm not saying anyone's guilty or anything. I'm saying, is the evidence getting too compelling to ignore?
Evidence vis-a-vis whom, Mr. Modi?
The government in Gujarat, the state government.
I think that as far as the state government is concerned, you see, that is what I think Mr. Mittal is very cleverly trying to deflect the whole issue. There is one issue about Mr. Modi's personal complicity in criminal acts one after the other. All right. I think it's a very serious matter. I don't think he is personally is above board, but I don't think that so far the courts have indicted him in anything for us to make that claim that, you know, he is personally involved in criminal acts. But the point is, which Mr. Mittal is very cleverly trying to deflect, is his responsibility as the chief minister of a regime, a leader of a regime, which is being indicted again and again by court after court, by investigating team after investigating team, in indulging in acts of utter lawlessness, of criminality, starting from the Gujrat riots to fake encounters to, you know, many such acts of criminality.
Prasanjit,
that Mr. Mittal is, what is his responsibility as chief minister?
We have to wrap up very soon, sir. Mr. Mittal, I will give you 30 to 40 seconds to answer. Really, I mean, I cannot help but quote what the Gujarat State High Court said, and I'm going to be very quick about it. Additional Advocate General Tushar Mehta was told by Justice Patel today, what is the role of the state? Sir, listen to me. We have to wrap up after this. What is the role of the state to defend the officers that killed 4 people, even if they were terrorists or hardcore criminals? Nobody has the license to kill people in fake encounters, even if they are. This is the court saying this, sir. This is not me saying it. How do you have to respond to that? Last time you were on the program, you said you're siding with the criminals and the terrorists. I am not.
I am so. Yeah. Allow me.
Briefly, sir.
Prasanjit Saab ko, let me thank him for small mercies. At least I'm sure how frustrated the two people would be to admit that yes, there is nothing against Mr. Modi personally. Thanks for this mercy. Secondly, what happens to the state government? If it is indicted, the officers responsible for that, the action shall be taken against them. Unless there is a responsibility which is attributed to Mr. Narendra Modi directly, I don't think he's a subject matter of this issue. Thirdly, the polygraphic test which Mr. Naik has been so vociferously demanding. We have just seen that the CBI established that the minister, again under Mr. The Prime Minister, had taken a bribe of 2.5 crore rupees from the MP of Congress. I would appreciate that he also says that the Prime Minister will take a polygraphic test. If the Prime Minister is willing to take a polygraphic test,
we have to wrap now. We are out of time.
We
are out of time, sir. One line. Okay, Mr. Mittal, we are out of time.
You are a Himalayan hypocrite.
We are out of time, sir. We are out of time.
See, when your party demands that the Prime Minister should resign,
you must learn
when your party demands, we support.
We have to wrap now. We have to wrap.
See, Mr. Mittal cannot be allowed to have the last say.
backed by
You please stop this hypocrisy. When you demand the Prime Minister to resign because of
gentlemen,
you should have absolutely no right.
Gentlemen, we have to stop now. We have to stop now. We are out of time. Prasenjit, Mr. Mittal, I have to stop now. We are completely out of time. One line answer from Prasenjit. One line answer, not more than that. If this continues, what will happen to the Modi juggernaut? Will he be the face of 2014 if it comes back to his door? One line answer.
I don't know what the BJP will do. The people of our country, India, is not Gujarat. And the people of our
that's
country
good
will
enough.
never accept.
That's good enough.
Never
I must
accept
end now.
this
I must thank all my guests. This debate could continue for days on end if I don't stop it right now. Prasenjit Bose, Shabnam Ashmi, Sudhanshu Mittal, Rajiv Ranjan, Madhav Nalpat, many thanks. And Shantaram Naik, many thanks for joining us on the NewsX debates. I'm Athar Khan. That's all the time we have. Good night.